AI is no longer just a tool. It is now building systems that can think, act, and also give us solutions. So, today at Soundarya Institute of Management and Science, we have a great visionary leader in front of us who can actually tell us what agentic AI is and dive us into that world. So, let us all welcome Ms. Rubal Sambarwal, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, we have known what AI is. So, when there's students who do not know what exactly AI is, so how do you brief them what AI is actually?
Artificial intelligence is a system that is augmenting all of us. It is created by the humans to support us in various work activities. So as we can grow faster, we can deliver faster and better. Whereas it has, as a toddler grows over years, it has grown from AI to Gen AI to agentic AI today. From a system which works on command to a system which could adapt to some extent and work with your context and content, to a system which is agentic AI now, which is adaptable. So it can understand your process, it can adapt to your process, it can actually create an autonomous organization for you, which is good and scary at the same time.
We have seen that people use data analytics and data science. They think that it is very similar because of the sounding actually. But can you just brief us what the difference is?
See, data analytics is I have the data in hand and I am giving you answers based on the data in hand. Whereas data science is understanding the background of data, living with the data and understanding how can I augment decisions with it further, getting insight into the story of it. It's like how this data got generated, how I can add value, what kind of value this add to the business process at what place. So that is data science.
I have read about your profiling, and I do know that you have been working with the companies, to improve their profit related to such AI things. And it's a great opportunity to let us know about agentic AI. So this is genre is basically a collaboration of both higher studies with the AI.
So with AI, if you are using it to study, then it's not good, like I mentioned earlier as well, while we were discussing in the room. Whereas if you're using AI to augment your work, add your value, increase your value to your creative and process thinking, then agentic AI will help you quite a bit. To give you an example, in a HR process, if you have to create an agent which can improve your step-by-step process in an HR module, for instance, if you are applying for a leave in a company, you have to go to a system to apply, you have to send an email to your manager, you have to inform 10 more people before you go on a leave, you inform the whole world. Yes. And it's very taxing, I'm just taking a leave, right? Whereas if you can create an agent while you are talking or writing on the board saying, hey, I want to apply for a leave, it says, yes, you have available leaves. We can send it for, first step is to send it from approval to your manager, and then it's send an email, you say yes, and it sends it further, and then once your mail is approved, you don't have to tell him to do further steps. It can automatically go to a system and apply a leave on your behalf. It can inform your client, put an out of office for you, and if you ask him to book a ticket for you, it can do that as well.
Ma'am, so you would have seen the era before the transition of using the AI and without the AI. Yes. So can you just brief what you felt about the sudden transition?
I, being a curious person, continue to learn to live with AI. I have learned to do marketing with AI. I have learned to do finance with AI, and for that matter, even app building and technology with AI. But I do see that people, they get into a fear mode. Yeah. That AI might take away my job. What do I do next? Should I learn all the tools? And then they randomly put on all the courses on Coursera or Udemy or IBM or something else, because they are directionless. I think the step one for anyone should be that understand the change and adapt to the change, and that's what I have been doing.
They think because the IT sector may actually take our jobs because of this AI. Yes. So when such thing arises, what can be that one thing that can change?
Actually, AI will not take away your jobs. AI can certainly be augmenting your work for sure. Like I give examples of multiple tools, GPT being one, Lovable, Bolts, N8, endless, I can name them, Midnight. There are multiple tools. I need to know how to use them. I need to know the technology behind it. I need to know the costing also. For instance, if you want to use Claude as a tool versus Lovable as a tool, which tool is better? What kind of technology it is using? Can I directly use Claude instead of Lovable, because Lovable is also using Claude, right? What kind of a cost I can incur? Even if I'm using tools, I need to have very basic concept very clear. If my concepts are not clear, how will I augment my work? For instance, again, for example, you are building a website, okay? Now you used a AI system to build your whole website. Very beautifully, it has done the work. Now, how will you connect this website or publish this website if you don't know how to create domains? If you don't know how to set up an email system with it? If you don't know how to connect your APIs for marketing?
One thing is linked to another.
Everything is linked. So
Yeah.
your technology knowledge is not going anywhere. Your problem solving skills, your basics, your knowledge about how APIs work, how various layers of coding work, that is not going anywhere, and that is required to enable the automation with AI. So your basics is what I would say that every student should work very thoroughly on.
We have all heard about artificial intelligence and generative AI. So now we are listening to something new, which is called agentic AI.
Yeah.
So what basically is agentic AI, and what tools are different from actual AI to agentic AI?
Agentic AI is, I would say, the next generation from Gen AI. Gen AI was more around content. The better content you provide it, the more adaptable or more solution oriented it will be. Okay, your answers are as good as the content you provide. Whereas in agentic AI, it learns. The more you provide information, it creates its own model and learning capability based on your quest and questions with it or playing around with it. Once you start using a couple of tools, you will realize that how come he knows or she knows what am I asking. It automatically starts generating questions or content based on you have been interacting with them. So for instance, if I have been talking about HR quite a bit or HR process quite a bit, it will continue to offer me that kind of a solutions continuously. That is agentic AI, right? It actually adapts very quickly. Process example I gave you, that an HR or e-leave application you have to do, it learns very quickly that now the student or the employee might need to apply for 10 more places. So it will come back and recommend that process needs a correction. We need to add these steps into it. And sometimes if you actually give permissions to the system, it automatically course correct. We don't advise that for a reason that you don't want the systems to go out of hand. You would have heard many cases where systems start auto generating suggestions, or sometimes even suing the people for writing certain comments or differentiating between human and AI. Sometime there's a case in US where the AI filed a case on a person saying you are differentiating with me on a racial grounds. There is no racial ground with AI, but because there was AI generated comment via system and the person blocked it, she went ahead and kind of put it on the newspaper as well that I have been criticized by a person because I'm AI, which is amazing because it could think through. It worked on a very own thought process to provide a new system altogether, that it can go to the newspaper, give an interview, write an article about it. Part of it was hallucination also, where the models are getting corrected. Actually the person did not say the content the way it projected, okay, because the system was learning in a very very different way. It added lot of hallucination to it and ended up in a very different case which shouldn't have happened. But that's how agentic AI works. It learns the processes very quickly and adapts very quickly.
So, ma'am, now is humans needed to actually dive into towards AI, or do they need to actually work against it?
You don't need to work against it. You need to work in parallel, in collaboration with AI. You have to decide first of all that which path you are taking in terms of, are you a tech person and creating learning paths, neural networks and stuff, or you take a path of prompt engineering, understanding the tools, LLMs, how can you work with them, and then take that path of working alongside AI so as your life is easier. Otherwise it's a journey. If you are standing against it, that more or less employers will not hire you.
So, ma'am, for students, which tools are actually important and that could help during their future careers?
It would depend upon what career they are looking at. Like I mentioned, for a website developer, you need to look at both Lovable. For a marketing, Midnight, Canva, Adobe Premium also is there. You can look at different tools based on the way you are taking a path. There are multiple, endless tools. I can name endless tools here. But for researchers, you can look at Perplexity. Gemini is very good with research. GPT is good if you create your own GPTs. If you create a custom GPT for your work, so it will recommend you better. It does have its agent. If you want to get into the specific agents, then use a specific GPT agent as well.
So now AI is actually used in every other field, like no matter what field, it's used everywhere. So when it's that scenario actually, so does leadership actually change when there's many institutions using or the companies are using AI in order to make such critical reasoning and practices?
Leadership is changing from a perspective that looking at cost effectiveness with the use of AI. So they are actually trying to train people and bring that cultural shift that you just mentioned, that we are scared that AI might take away jobs. So that cultural thought process shift is required. So you might not need a software engineer as it is. You might need a prompt engineer for some of the works. You might also need a software engineer for the deep LLM works or a data scientist for the deep LLM works. According to my opinion, employers' leadership is changing towards a cultural shift. They have to do a lot of change management. So it's a hard job.
So leadership is now basically understood as a deep learning thing for the technology or in the working of more strategic understanding during the people favor.
It goes hand in hand actually. They do have to learn some tools and technologies so as they can train people, they can understand. So if I don't know the tools, how will I ask anyone to use it? I need to learn those, right? I may not need a very deep level of understanding, but I need to have a level of understanding to take a decision or trust a system. But if you're looking for a pure technical role, you need to have a deep expertise. You need to see, if you look at leadership, it works in a group. You have someone who's very strategic, who you will have a CTO who's very technical. You will have a financial team as well, CFOs. So the whole CXO group, CMOs, CTOs, CIOs, they all work together. So CTOs, CIOs, they certainly need to know their work better. They need to go deeper into each one, right? CMOs, maybe they can work with the tools, like I mentioned, couple of tools, they can work with that. But CTO and CIOs cannot. They need to understand the deeper science behind it, that why should I pick this tool? What will happen to my business if I take a wrong decision because of a certain tool? So that your decisions are oriented based on your knowledge.
And AI is actually used for every other task, such as analyzing, understanding, planning, executing, and so much more. So when there's this scenario again, so what are the skills which is required by humans that could be irreplaceable by any of the AI systems?
I would say software skills. Humans do bring in their critical analysis of every information, the judgment. For me, I will say reading skills are also very important. When you can read through what your content is, what you are providing to us as a leader, I can be as strong as my team is. If my team has not read through the document they provided me, generating, using generative AI or all these AI tools, you finish your job, which is not a clean job, and then I will look bad out in the market because my team has given me some data. I have a confidence on you. I said, okay, my team has worked really well. However, when I go out in the market, I will look very bad because the data is not correct, it's not checked well and all. So leadership has to ensure the team is well learned. So reading, understanding concepts, problem solving, and more or less strategic understanding of which direction business is going, that is very important. If you don't understand the strategic vision of your work, then you will not be able to deliver value. You are just doing a mundane job, which in fact a robot can do. If you will churn some data and give it to me in my email, I can very well write a agent for that who can do that. Your value will come when you will read through and check that AI should not have hallucinated. There is no governance or legal issue when I'm speaking that, or there is no problem with this data. You've checked the number thoroughly. AI has not put on dummy data into it. So all that comes from a human perspective.
So now AI is becoming more autonomous and we are using it during the times which we need. Without any human interference, it is working automatically these days. So how can we make sure that it is actually following human ethics and also values?
For that, we talk about governance and responsible AI, where we integrate human steps in between. Where you have to make sure that in your whole process of creating an agent, you have to stop the agent at certain point for human checks. You have to enable that at this stage, only if a human will clear, it'll move to the next step. Otherwise, it will work at its own pace, and what will happen is that it's like garbage in, garbage out, right? Very basic BCA concept. I think you guys learned this. The garbage you feed in, the garbage out will be there on the results as well.
So these days we have all heard about AI. So you also mentioned that we need human checkups in between. So what if that didn't happen, and if something happened during that phase without even checking? So who do we actually blame? That either the societal
The CEO will get blamed and might go to jail as well. Because you see, for a business house, it's CEOs or the leadership responsibility to run the show, and there is a lot of legality around providing the wrong data. When we sign up contracts, you may not know, but there is an insurance added to each contract. Every time I deliver a solution to another company, and if I fail to deliver, in that case I'll have to pay a certain amount of money. So if my team will work in a very random way and give me data in a random way without human intervention, the agentic AI is churning dummy results, and I just go out and present, first of all, my market value will go zero. No one would like to talk to me. They will say, let's talk to AI only, that whatever he or she is speaking is fallacy and false, and maybe she's or he's dreaming or hallucinating. Second, I will get into a lot of legal issues. So governance is very important.
So, ma'am, you mentioned your institution as well. Like you being the entrepreneur, you have started many things. So, for empowering students, what could be that one thing which will help the institution? So, as like Soundarya Institute of Management and Science, how could that be a favorite thing for the institutions?
I would say we need to prepare students from campus to career sort of a journey, which it means is that we need to understand when they get to career from their campus what is needed out in the market. I know we are teaching curriculum, which is very beautiful because that gives you basics. That is required because that's how you learn to problem solve, you learn to basic code as well. But market needs much more. So your institute and all the institutes for that matter need to prepare the kids for the outside world. And trust me, it's harsh.
So, as you mentioned, Niti Ayog's empowerment, you know, right, ma'am? So, through that, how can the students be empowered through agentic AI or the AI field or the future careers which they are looking for?
So, Niti Ayog has set up multiple programs, one of which is Women Empowerment Program, of which I am part as a mentor. Okay. In that particular program, they let us know information about various opportunities that come in the market, and they select people based on their profiles to be a mentor. So people can come and request me for a mentorship on the system, on the WEP system, on their requirement. It could be access to finance, it could be knowledge, market knowledge for that area, so on and so forth. There are multiple areas. You want help with the pricing or competitive knowledge, or you want a recommendation for your business or something. So various mentorship, that how do I create XYZ business, how do I access to finance, how do I speak to the market, what exactly should I do for marketing, whatever mentoring is required for you, and it's specific to women, will be provided. If not me, there are multiple other mentors as well who can provide you your mentorship accordingly. This program is recognized by FICCI and G20, so it's a very valid program by Government of India. I'm happy to be part of it, and I really would love if I can at least change one life with it. It'll be like fortunate situation for me.
So, ma'am, you have worked with a lot of companies during your career. So, could you give us 2 or 3 examples wherein you would have worked with the company, with the high-tech companies? So, which was your best experience through that?
Well, most of my companies have been really good. I have worked with, I started my career with Reuters, being a media house. Then I have worked with IBM, HP, Gartner, IDC, Boston Consulting Group, and Citi. After that, my entrepreneurial journey started. So 7 companies altogether I worked before. All of them had their own good points. Some made me travel a lot. Some actually supported me throughout my journey. For me personally, HP stands out. I spent 6 years in that company. In that company, I got married. In that company, I had my child, and I got divorced. The management was impeccable. Like even today, my mentors are from the same company. I go back to them again when I'm stuck in a situation or I'm trying to get into the market with a new product or something. I just go back to them and say, hey, would you mentor me for XYZ solution? And they are still very supportive. So while I was going through my divorce, that company stood with me like a pillar. So for personal experience, if I have to I put HP on the top most place. However, all other companies were as supportive as HP was, but just because I was in a very harsh time of my life, it kind of added a lot of value.
If you were in a scenario where you are the lecturer of so and so institution, or you can take Soundarya as the example.
Okay.
So what would you teach as the first step for the students to get into IT phase during this AI era?
I would actually look at market first to understand what my hiring team is looking at. Okay, placement cell goes to various companies and ask them for various roles and internships that they can provide. So my first step would be to understand what are they needing from my students. So for instance, it could be as simple as that they need prompt engineer, they need data scientist. So what kind of roles are coming out in the market? If they have a list of roles, then I can go back to my student and say, hey, I know that you are doing your curriculum really good, you are doing good at your scores and everything. However, there are a couple of things that you can add. For example, for marketing, they can do AI for marketing and understand how can I improvise my copywriting, my marketing plans. For BCS students, AI for tech, right? Which tools I need to work on? Should I be researching more on deep learning? Should I be researching more around LLMs? What is new coming in the market? I mentioned a couple of pages you can go to. Harvard has its own page, Kellogg has its own page, where you can actually look through research of various countries, what exactly people are researching into technically. That I need to be aware, that I need to understand what exactly is happening in the market. See, employers are happy to train you, that's why they are here. However, when you have these basics ready with them, hiring becomes better, the packages become better, to be very honest. If I have to hire someone, I have to make him stand ground up, I will think maybe I can give a lesser salary or something because I have to invest quite a bit into trainings and other things. However, if I have a student which is ready, he can just start next day and I don't have to put too much into training, maybe 15 days of onboarding, and he'll be ready to work. I'll be happy to give a higher package because now this person is very valuable to me. So you create your value by learning.
As you mentioned IBM, we actually have IBM courses running right through. Okay. And even I am a specialized data science student also. I'm getting that course as a specialization during my Bachelor of Computer Applications. So we have many courses related to the business and also the technical tools which we are also learning. So during that IBM company hiring process, you could have recommend us, being you as an HR, as an example, what could you be that one thing that could set us apart during the employee hiring sessions?
I would always set a person up for internship first. So as you get to know the company a little, maybe it's a 1 month internship or a 2 month internship, but you get to know the business first, that what are you getting into. So as an HR also, I would recommend that part only, that okay, let's get an understanding of your story matching to the company story. A lot of time what happens is we join a company in hurry burry, that it's my first job that I've got, let's just join because offer is there and whatever, my parents are saying it's a good company and all. But when we join the company, the thought process, the ethics and the story does not match, and then we get frustrated. So internships help in that.
If you were an HR and you were looking for students, so if without any experience, if there were a fresher, then what could you recommend them?
I generally have my problem solving test for them. So I ask them to showcase their knowledge based on a problem that I provide them. That way, my basic requirement is the person should be able to think. If they are able to think, they will find a solution. Even if they come back and say, hey, I am trying to learn, I know only this much, even then I'm okay, because then there is an honesty factor. That the person is very honest, saying that I have learned XYZ, however, I need more time to learn other things. That's also a good part. The person is committing even before they joined you.
Yeah, ma'am, you mentioned that you were ready for the mentoringship. Yeah. So if I came up to you for a mentoring session without knowing A to B or A to D or A to Z about anything related to AI, then how could you start mentoring me with a short session?
I'll have to understand your motivations first. I can have a general discussion with you, a coffee talk, chai talk, or whatever you prefer, or maybe a samosa talk if you like that. But to understand what is your motivation for this mentorship, right? Why would you want me to invest my time into you? And why would you invest your time into me? there's a exchange of time happening. Your time is precious and so is mine. So if I have to mentor you, I generally see a spark in people, only then I start mentoring. If to mentor you, I have to see that spark, that okay, this person has come to me and he is clear with his motivation. I have seen kids who are super excited. So long ago, I hired a girl, I will not name her, from Chandigarh. I just took an interview. He's a fresher, and my managers were not available for the interview. So I thought, okay, let me just cover up for, because there's a medical leave or something. I covered up for that person. This girl was gem. It's like you found gem out of nowhere. I spoke to her. She was good with her concept. She said, I don't know XYZ things. Like I mentioned, she said, मुझे deep learning नहीं आता. I don't know what is deep learning. I don't know what is deep research. But I'm ready to learn. You give me documents, you give me papers, or you tell me what the topics are. I will learn and give you the test also. So we gave her topics. She gave the test. She passed the test. She passed the test with 50%, but I did still hired her because she tried. In that short period of 1 week, she said, you give me the topics, I'm happy to learn that. And she was a fresher, just out of the college. The excitement that she showed, that I am ready to come to Bangalore, I really want to learn, help me with this. That kind of motivated me quite a bit, because her initiative was quite a bit. She was ready to leave her comfort zone. She was ready to learn. She was ready to jump into a new unknown territory, which is quite a bit of risk-taking capability for a girl of her age, of 20, 21 years old. That made me take a leap of faith, and I became her mentor. When she came here, I was like, okay, come, take a flight and come. I will see how will I train you.
So, ma'am, if any student from our institution, from Soundarya Institute of Management and Science, came up to you for mentorship, again for the data science or data analytics, or like either for prompt engineering also, so would you mentor them with hiring process, or getting into the job thing? Would you help them with that?
I will certainly help them with anything they want. I can guide them, even if they want to not get hired by me and hired by someone else also. I will certainly show them the path. I have quite a bit of network. I am part of Bangalore Leadership Group. I am part of my previous networks also from different companies. So I will be happy to refer them to the right job or the right place.
How did you feel about Soundarya Institute?
It's a lovely institute actually. It's very far though for me, coming from Whitefield to here, it was very far. But I really loved the hospitality of the place. I really liked the way teachers and students interacted. You guys gave me a lot of time to speak on the floor, and it was nice to interact with almost everyone. Like, very lively institute, I would say.
So, ma'am, if you could give one key advice or the important thing or a note for today's students from our institution to get into job field or related to diving into the world of agentic AI or industry transformation, how would you help them, or what could be that one thing which you will suggest them?
My one suggestion is that the era of asking for higher salaries because you have a degree is gone. Now you need to show your value. How can you add value to business from a technical perspective also? Even if I'm creating an app, you need to tell me how can you expedite my work. If you are adding value to the business, they will hire you. If you are becoming a burden to the business, then you are not required. So work on creating your value.
So, Mama, I would like to ask another question.
Sure.
So, if there's person A and person B,
Okay.
a person with a whole technical knowledge and everything, he's very good at prompt engineering and everything,
Yeah.
but he's not good at speaking, or isn't that confident enough. So, but if there was another person who was great at talking and motivating others, but he wasn't that great in technical knowledge, but he was best in his theoretical knowledge, who would you hire first?
I would hire with the lack of communication, because a softer skill I can teach. I can make the person stand. I know how to work on the com skill and how to get the person facing client. However, if the person is not technically good and is not even interested to learn, he may have good theory knowledge, but he doesn't know how to implement that theory. Whatever big talk he can do to me, I will not get impressed, because that's very visible. Because whenever I'll ask him to implement even the simplest of problem, if he cannot solve it, that is a red flag for me.
What would be the last advice, ma'am, for all the students in Soundarya Institute of Management and Science?
Well, my general advice to everyone whenever I talk to them is, you need to have a 3-stage process in life, which is called learn, unlearn and relearn, and repeat, and continue to repeat, because you might fail in learning quite a few times. That doesn't stop the process. You need to be very resilient. Market is rough out there. I will not sugarcoat it. It's not like how our parents make it, that everything is going to be fine when you go out. You will need a lot of resilience to stand, right? So, and that there's a lot of competition. Like your institute, there are so many institutes that are training their kids. So the competition is very harsh out there.
It was such a great opportunity to talk with mom, and for this opportunity which was provided by my lecturers as well as from the college side, I would thank to each one of you, and I will thank Soundarya Institute of Management and Science for such a great opportunity. Thank you, mom.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank Principal Sir and Anuradha ma'am and all the team who actually arranged for me to come here. They were very, I would say the hospitality was great. They were very kind to me, though I came late a little with traffic jams and everything in Bangalore. But the student interaction, the whole session that I gave earlier, and this podcast also, it's very well thought through. You guys prepared really well for this session. So I'm really thankful to be part of the whole group, and for a moment I felt I'm back in college times. It was really nice to be here. Thank you.